TomoNews presents United Airlines.
Honeymooners save plane with fuel leakage but get left stranded. A newly married couple flying to Italy for their honeymoon cruise were thrown off course before they could leave the ground when they saw an unusual sight out of their cabin window. Which airline were they flying? United, of course. On June 14th, Mike and Rachel Brumfield boarded their flight in Newark, New Jersey, but when they got to their seats, they spotted fluid pouring out of the plane's left wing. As it turns out, what they saw draining out was jet fuel. Somehow, not one member of the flight crew happened to notice the issue before takeoff, and had the couple not spoken up, the plane might have crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. For their critical observation, you'd think United Airlines would come up with a special gesture to show gratitude, right? Wrong. The newlyweds say they learned their flight was canceled and all the passengers received hotel vouchers for the night, except them. Furthermore, they say United employees were super rude to them and had no idea where their luggage was. They were forced to sleep on the floor of the airport and rushed to arrange a flight at another airport to make it to Venice on time for their honeymoon cruise. When reached for comment, United Airlines declined to address the couple's claims, only offering a general statement regarding the flight cancellation. Classy.
United Airlines strikes again. The airline everyone loves to hate is once again in the headlines, this time for giving away a toddler's seat and forcing him to sit on his mom's lap for the entire flight. Shirley Yamauchi and her 27-month-old son were on the final leg of an 18-hour journey from Hawaii to Boston on June 29th. United Airlines agents at Houston's Bush Airport scanned their tickets and let them through without incident. But once on board, a passenger who'd been on standby arrived with a ticket for her son's seat, which she'd paid nearly $1,000 for. She notified a flight attendant about the confusion, but the woman just shrugged and told her the flight was full. Wary of making a scene and getting the David Dow treatment, Yamauchi was forced to hold her son on her lap for the entire 3.5-hour flight. The toddler was in several contorted sleeping positions before eventually ending up standing between her knees. After getting off the plane, Yamauchi told agents at the gate of her ordeal. They directed her to customer service, who then told her to call the hotline. Thanks, guys. So helpful. United's excuse is that the ticket was scanned incorrectly, making it look like it wasn't checked in. Which sounds like a pile of horse dung, if you ask us. The airline's own guidelines require children 2 years and older to have a seat. But guess those rules don't count if there's an opportunity to grab a couple $100, huh? Get it together, United.
Abuse of power? United Airlines is once again embroiled in controversy after a passenger complained that she was booted from her first-class seat to make room for a Texas lawmaker. On December 18th, Jean Marie Simon was in Houston, waiting to board the last leg of her round-trip DC to Washington flight. Simon bought first-class tickets and was supposed to be in seat 1A, but the gate agent who scanned her ticket found that it wasn't in the system and asked her if she had canceled her flight. Her seat had apparently been taken, and she was given a $500 voucher and reseated in Economy Plus. Simon soon found out her seat had ultimately been given to U.S. Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee, a Houston Democrat. Another congressman on the flight also told her Jackson Lee made the habit of bumping passengers off flights, and it was the third time he'd personally seen her do it. Simon also says a flight attendant approached her after she snapped a photo of Jackson Lee and threatened to have her removed if she caused problems. Responding to the incident, Jackson Lee claimed she never asked for special treatment, before then saying Simon may have easily targeted her as an African-American woman. Simon flatly denies the racism accusation. She has since written the United CEO of her ordeal, but has only received an apology from a resolution manager. The 63-year-old private school teacher has yet to receive a formal apology from the company.
United keeps sending dogs to the wrong cities. United has been on a roll when it comes to pets. United Flight 3996 from Newark to St. Louis actually had to be diverted last Thursday because the geniuses found a dog that was accidentally aboard the plane. The four-legged flyer was supposed to be flying to Akron, Ohio, but was put on the wrong flight to St. Louis. The plane then had to take an extra 2-hour detour to drop the pup off in Akron to its owners. The airline's blunder turned a 2-hour trip into a 4-hour escapade for the passengers, who were compensated for the delay, hopefully not with another free United flight. Last week wasn't the best for United. They also suffocated a lady's French bulldog puppy and sent another dog to Japan instead of Kansas. United needs to seriously consider carrying only pets from now on. I mean, what could go wrong?
Big Bunny dies after United Airlines flight. United Airlines is facing more PR problems after this humongous rabbit died while traveling with the airline from England to the US. The 10-month-old, 3-foot-long continental giant rabbit called Simon was expected to grow up to become the biggest bunny in the world. But owner Annette Edwards is now demanding compensation from United and the return of the rabbit's corpse to the UK for an autopsy. United insists Simon was alive and hopping when he was taken off the flight in Chicago on April 19th, and there was definitely no need to ask, "Hey, what's up, Doc?" An airline spokesman said the giant rabbit appeared healthy and showed no signs of distress upon landing. Simon went to sleep in a pet facility run by the airline, but 30 minutes later, an employee opened his cage and found the rabbit dead. The spokesman said the airline had offered to perform a necropsy on the rabbit, free of charge, but Edwards declined. Rabbit breeder Edwards said Simon was expected to grow to be the world's biggest bunny, after his father Darius grew to a length of 4 feet 4 inches. Edwards said Simon had a veterinary checkup just 3 hours before takeoff from London's Heathrow Airport and was as fit as a fiddle. United said they have offered compensation to Simon's buyer in the States. The airline said it was saddened to hear of the giant bunny's death and was investigating the incident.
United Airlines starts longest nonstop flight from the U.S. United Airlines is known for its friendly customer service and has a reputation for always putting its passengers first. Now you can experience that first-rate service from LA all the way to Singapore. United Airlines has launched the longest nonstop flight from the U.S. from its Los Angeles hub to Singapore. The 14,000-kilometer trip takes 17 hours, 55 minutes to Singapore, and 15 hours, 15 minutes on the return trip. The flight will operate once a day on a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner with 252 seats combined in economy, economy plus, and business. The world's 2 longest routes belong to Qatar Airways' Doha-Auckland route at 14,536 kilometers and Emirates' Dubai-Auckland route at 14,193 kilometers. In terms of scheduled flying time, though, the new United route will be the longest due to the strong headwinds on the westbound portion of the flight. And for an added bonus, passengers can rest easy knowing that Singaporean cops don't have the same reputation for dragging Americans off planes.
United Airlines sends rapper Schoolboy Qs dog to the wrong city. Just when you realize you haven't heard United Airlines mentioned in the headlines lately, a fresh new PR disaster pops right up. This past weekend, a passenger's pet ended up in the wrong city, and unfortunately for the troubled airline, this particular passenger carries his own mic. On July 14th, rapper Schoolboy Q boarded a flight from Missouri to Burbank, California. During a stopover in Denver, arrangements had been made for a French bulldog puppy he'd just purchased to be loaded onto his connecting flight. But when Schoolboy Q landed and went to greet his new pet, he was stunned to find someone else's animal in the cage. Turns out the poor little pup had been switched by mistake during the flight transfer and was on his way to Chicago. As you can imagine, the Grammy-nominated artist was none too pleased and voiced his displeasure on Twitter, demanding answers. Thankfully, United managed to locate the puppy, named Yurndamin, and reunited him with his famous owner a few hours later. United issued the disgruntled rapper a full refund and a public apology, but unsurprisingly, Schoolboy Q still has a serious bone to pick with the airline. He told CNN he plans on suing.
United bounces lady en route to visit dying mother. United demonstrated how to fly the friendly skies last week once again, this time by throwing out a passenger en route to see her dying mom. Last week, Carol Amrich was flying from Colorado to Minnesota and checked in, scanned her ticket at the gate, and got on the plane. The ticket was bought by Amrich's landlord in his press loss via Traveler Help Desk and then changed to an earlier flight through United after Amrich's mom, Dixie Hansen, got worse. Presslaw said United told them the change wouldn't cause any issues, but it did. Travelers Help Desk said they refunded the ticket to protect against fraud. While she was strapped in, a gate agent came to remove her and said her ticket was refunded. Amrich told The Times the agent said to her, "Nobody flies for free." Back in the airport, Amrich called Presslaw and put her onto the gate agent. She offered to buy another ticket, but the flight left. So instead, Amrich drove the 1,000 miles from Colorado to Minnesota without stopping in a last-ditch attempt to see her mom. But by the time she got there, her mother was gone.
That sucks. A United Airlines flight turned into an absolute nightmare for hundreds of people after the plane's engine began falling apart mid-air. The Boeing 777 plane was carrying 363 passengers and 10 crew members when it left San Francisco for Honolulu Tuesday morning. Passengers heard a loud boom 40 minutes before landing and were shocked to see the engine cover falling off the plane. The aircraft began shaking hard, prompting the captain to warn of a possible rough landing and leading some people to think that they were legitimately doomed. The plane landed safely in Honolulu as passengers promptly cleaned out their shorts.
Wait, this isn't Kansas. United Airlines mistakenly shipped one family's dog halfway across the globe, their second pet-related mishap in just a week. Kara Swindle and her family were moving to Wichita and booked United tickets to fly from Oregon to Kansas City. Their German Shepherd Ergo was too big to be in the cabin with them and had to be flown in as cargo on a separate flight. But when they got to the cargo facility in Kansas, the Swindles were shocked to find a huge Great Dane waiting for them, with Ergo nowhere to be found. The airline eventually figured out that the 10-year-old dog had mistakenly been sent on a 16-hour flight to Japan instead of the Great Dane. Supposedly, someone from the pet resort at Denver Airport let the two canines out during a stopover and then put them back in the wrong kennels. Idiot. Ergo has been checked by a vet in Japan and was put on a plane back to Kansas on Wednesday night. Here's hoping that poor dog doesn't get separated again. United shoves dog in overhead bin and it ends badly for the pooch. United knows how to treat its customers. A dog passed away on a United Airlines flight from H-Town to the Big Apple on Monday after a flight attendant ordered the animal to be shoved into an overhead bin. Witnesses said the woman's dog carrier was sticking into the aisle, so a kind, thoughtful United flight attendant told her to stow the carrier and her pooch in the overhead compartment. During the flight, other passengers said they heard the dog barking. Unfortunately, after arriving in New York, it was no longer barking because it died. The dog's owner responded by collapsing to the ground in the aisle and bawling her eyes out. United apologized on Tuesday and said it's paying for the dog's necropsy and is refunding the tickets. Aw, how sweet. It also noted that pets should never be put into the overhead storage compartment. Well, almost never. United to get tougher on passengers with comfort pets. After the misadventure of Dexter, the very dapper peacock last week, United has gotten tough on emotional support pets. From March 1st, 2018, all passengers flying with a support animal will show documentation showing their pet has behavioral training and is vaccinated. So phonies best beware. This is the friendly skies after all. Passengers currently traveling with comfort pets need to show they're in legit need of their animal. They have to give United a letter from a mental health professional and 48 hours notice of their plans to travel with the animal. Otherwise, well, as we've said before, beware the friendly skies.